Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. And let me give you a brief introduction to PET, or Phoslock Environmental Technologies. We're in water remediation around the world, and our aim is to return waterways to health. We are an Australian company operating in the water remediation environment for more than 20 years. We have a global footprint of about 22 full-time staff, numerous agents and licensees around the world. We're headquartered in Melbourne, publicly listed on the Australian Securities Exchange under the banner PET. Our flagship product is Phoslock, originally developed by CSIRO in the 1990s. It binds phosphorus and settles it as a benign compound, environmentally safe in the water body. We've recently added a new product called Phoslock, which binds phosphorus but in flowing water, which is obviously complementary to Phoslock. We've been extensively reviewed by our peers with over 100 scientific journals and papers written over the years and published. We have some distinct advantages against some of our competitors, and we've been applied to more than 300 waterways across the world to date. There is a global challenge around nutrient loading in water bodies, particularly lakes, reservoirs, freshwater environmental bodies are big challenges. And phosphorus is one of those elements that causes particular impacts. Most of these impacts are visible via algal blooms, and you can see those in many waterways. And the problem, of course, is getting worse, accelerated by human activity. A number of countries report that phosphorus pollution is the single biggest issue that they must face in their natural and freshwater bodies. Around the world, and I won't go into all the details, but around the world, it is significant in all parts of the world. The US, 71%, they talk about, of their lakes are impaired. In Europe, up to 83%. There are various frameworks and directives being applied now to lake owners and managers that they must have nutrient levels at under certain levels to be compliant. So this is a significant issue, and it's growing. Phoslock is one of the technologies that works in this to eliminate this problem. It's the flagship product for us. Unique remediation tool, provides strong ecological structure and function to the water bodies. As I mentioned, it was developed by CSIRO in the 1990s. Phoslock works by binding available phosphorus, rendering it inert, forever bound in a compound that is not released again in that waterway. Extensively researched with many accreditations attached to the product, including drinking water approvals in various countries. It's been applied, as I said, over 300 water bodies around the world, extensively studied with a lot of literature produced on it. The newer product is Phoslock, which complements Phoslock as it treats the flowing water, the inflows into the water bodies, and you can see the various applications that can be used. It's unique in that it can be added to the water in for want of a better term, a tea bag, obviously a very big tea bag, but it can be removed once the the phosphorus is absorbed onto the pellet. The product is then removed, and uniquely, it can be used as a slow-release fertilizer once that product has been removed. So it's a unique product. It complements Phoslock, as now it treats the inflows, while Phoslock treats the in situ problem of phosphorus. For the company itself, we operate on 4 pillars of the business: customer, manufacturing, R&D, and people. I wanted to just touch on customers and commercial first. You can see we operate in two channels, really, which one is the direct to lake market, largely, large lakes, large water bodies where we operate directly with the customer and talk you directly with those customers about their needs and about the data requirements and the lake itself. And then we also operate through a distribution channel in most parts of the world where we sell to distribution. They also will talk to large lakes, but also talk to applicators and more of the smaller water bodies, but more repeatable treatments that go on all around the world in various private, municipal, ag, mining, recreational water bodies around the world. So that's fundamentally how we operate commercially. And this is where we're set up around the world. We do have a global operating presence. In Canada, we have a subsidiary working on some registration challenges in Canada, but expect that to be a significant opportunity for us. The US, we have a team there of commercial and sales and marketing people. We have a manufacturing MOU signed for Western Hemisphere manufacture in the US. We expect that the business case to be completed in the next short while to decide whether we go ahead with that or not. We have multiple distribution agreements. We're working with the US Army Corps of Engineers in the US and also the City of Orlando. And we have a number of large lake projects going on as we speak. In Europe, we have our commercial team as well, based in the UK and Germany. Our head of aquatic science is based in Scotland, and we have distribution agreements with many partners throughout Europe. We also have significant large lake treatments pending in Europe and projects we're working on, particularly in the Nordics, Finland and Norway specifically, and then in Germany and the Netherlands. And if you look on our website, you can see some previous treatments late last year in the Netherlands, which were hugely successful. Brazil, we operate under a licensee, have done for many years and very successfully through Brazil. We're just opening up distribution in Uruguay as well. In China, we've changed our sales model to be more distribution focused rather than direct. And we also manufacture the product in Tianjin, which is just out of Shanghai in China. In New Zealand and Australia, we have our corporate office obviously based in Melbourne. R&D, operations, finance and sales operate out of that office. We're developing new segments throughout Australia, and we have sales agents and applications in New Zealand. In fact, one happening this week at the City of Auckland in New Zealand. For R&D, our additional Phoslock product just recently has been a huge success of the program. We're also now focusing a lot on nitrogen capture, which is the other significant nutrient that causes pollution in lakes, and also the development of and enhancing of the Phoslock product itself, as well as some other new segments around dredging, mining, mechanical harvesting, etc. We've recently completed our half-year review and presented to investors on that. So this slide is on our website, and I won't talk specifically to all the points, but there is a lot of activity happening around the world, including projects in Australia completed in Western Australia, trial work. Also China with the resetting of the sales team, a number of projects going on in Europe, particularly in the Netherlands in the second half, in fact, right now, complementing some of the treatments that happened in Scotland and the Nordics earlier in the year. The distribution agreements I've mentioned. We've approval for an application in Uruguay happening and scheduled for the second half of this year, so in the next few months, and developments are underway in Ecuador around a large shrimp producer, which is a new segment, an important segment for us. And I've mentioned the US and Canada already. This is a new web page that we're going to launch very soon, hopefully in the next few days, where we're going to describe all the open projects around the world that people can have a look at. You can hover over the map and bring up the details around some of the projects that we're working on. Obviously, there'll be caveats that come with the projects that not all of them will get to completion. However, it'll give our interested people a view of what we're doing around the world. So the outlook for the business, it's going to be somewhat challenging in the short term as we rebuild. I haven't talked a lot about the China business, but we've had some challenges in China, and we're needing to rebuild the business with a broader geographical base, and that's what we've been focusing on. So in the short term, that'll remain challenging for us, but we do see opportunities in many of the markets occurring in this second half, and we'll be reporting on those as they come through. The addition of Phoslock and other R&D developments coming soon will be also quite exciting for the business. Focusing on the sales strategy, executing the sales strategy will be a critical component, as well as embedding the new sales model in China, the regulatory issues in Canada, and also the manufacturing process around the two hemisphere manufacturing plants will keep focuses for us. We are in a good funding position. We're very focused on cash flow, having spent a little bit in the last while addressing some of the issues and setting the business up. Redeploying the resources to best support that sales model that I discussed is obviously key to generate cash. We expect to finish the year at the end of December with about 13 to 14 million cash based on current projections. We are debt free